This is the
Afterhours
Burnout Podcast. How's it going, V?
Here we are, F.
Wow. It's been a while, right?
It sure has.
Yeah. How's everything going with you?
All good, all good. A new day, a new chat session. Time to get into an interesting topic here that we have for our audience. What do you say?
What is it, V? Tell me more about it.
It's related to food.
I love food.
I
but
thought you'd say
there's something
that.
more to it, right?
Yeah. Why don't you tell our
No,
audience?
you tell us, because I kind of forgot already.
Okay, so many of us, right, as we were going to offices, having to actually go into a building, maybe your company or organization had a cafeteria, maybe you had your favorite nearby restaurant that you'd like to go on Fridays, celebrating the end of the week with colleagues, or other types of nice little treats, right, that made your work more pleasant.
Exactly, like the little things that kind of made you cheer up. Like I have another couple of meetings right after that we're letting go to Hooters. We're like, yeah, let's all go to Hooters. In our case, though, you know, it was always something really cool because where we worked, at least, or where I worked, a lot of nice little restaurants here by a lot of little gems. So these are things that I miss of not being able to go to the office. But that's pretty much where it starts and where it ends. Is the reason to go down to the office was to go out to eat with the colleagues.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only thing I miss from the office. Well, what about you?
I was the type of person that would take my lunch.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very, kind of, I guess, finicky with some of those things. And not to say that I'd never enjoyed eating at a restaurant, but I just enjoyed taking my food. But I do admit to having certain places that I just would never say no to.
Yeah.
Like those particular places that you just wanted to kind of reserve for special occasions.
Yeah, the yummies.
The one where like, okay, this is a good day because I have this appointment.
Yeah. So like, what was your place? Like, what was your go-to place? Like, I know that maybe I'm not sure what was your relationship with your coworkers, but it seems like you would rather have lunch by yourself rather than go out to eat. Is that kind of right?
Yeah, I'd say that like it depended. Like I wasn't very like a social butterfly.
Right. But if they said like, hey, let's go to this restaurant, they're gonna mention to us, you're like, yeah, heck yeah, let's go. So what was that restaurant?
There was one that was they were known for making their own yogurt.
Okay.
So they had, like, you'd walk in, very, like, eclectic, chill place, like the wooden tables, and the peculiar thing about it was that you'd see, like, a window, and in the window to the back of the shop, there were these huge machines, but these machines were all doing the process to create yogurt.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so you'd see like people with nets on their hair, like dressed in white coats, but then they'd try to give you samples of what they were preparing. Mm-hmm. So they'd have like these dishes with labneh, it's a type of yogurt, or yogurt just with all these like deliciousness. And I love vegetables, right? So they had like this butternut squash salad with arugula and quinoa, and they had this yogurt as part of the dressing. It was a bit lemony. I mean, just the richness of flavors.
Yeah.
With like ginger probiotic. Like,
sounds all really healthy, but I mean, are these things you can probably make at home now? Have you tried making these things at home?
I haven't tried making labneh or yogurt because I think that's another level that I haven't gotten. I mean, if I'm thinking of myself, being in Super Mario shoes, I haven't eaten the mushroom yet to get to that level of culinary prowess. But I have been dabbling in some things here and there at home. Like I can make a hummus. Yeah. Right?
So you've been kind of like scratching that itch of this type of food.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But I know that there's certain cuisines that I just can't make the same. Like I tried making a baba ganoush the other day. It's like, no, I'm total fail.
Yeah,
right?
For me it's tough too because there's a restaurant that I love to go to. It's a Japanese restaurant, and their specialty was ramen, and the way that they did it was really great. I mean,
what'd you like about it?
Oh, well, first of all, it was the whole menu. The whole menu was really really great. I mean, they had these crispy pork ears and
Crispy pork ears during the day.
it was so good. I would have that as like the appetizer, and then we'd have like a nice, beautiful bowl of ramen. It was so good.
Describe the bowl of ramen.
It was big,
How
heartwarming.
big? Like,
I don't know, man. It was. I mean, when you're hungry, right? It's like this is a gallon of like
holy smokes.
of like ramen. Probably wasn't, but it seemed like it. Right? It's this big bowl and it's packed with all different ingredients and the beautiful egg and the pork and the broth and the noodles, and oh, it was so delicious. I mean, that's something that I haven't really tried to make at home, right? And I think that as this whole thing progresses, right, I'm probably be much more likely and much more inclined to go ahead and take that jump of trying to do this because I miss it so much. I miss it so much, and I really miss the pork ears. So it's like I think I'm probably gonna try to do the pork ears first, and then go for the ramen because I miss it.
That sounds like an achievable like mission.
Yeah, man. Of course. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean,
Pork ears.
it's just making the time for it, right, to do it.
Yeah. So tell me, were these ramens like handmade?
I think they had both. They had both options. Like they had like imported ramen from Japan, or then they or imported noodles from Japan, or they had like the homemade noodles there local.
But do you think nowadays with all the like globalization on YouTube and the fascination with cooking, that you can find someone that could?
I'm sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure our audience is familiar with Binging with Babish, right? Binging with Babish YouTube channel. He has some quality videos there, and I think he has a couple on ramen that I was like, oh, I should probably try that out. It's just making the time for it, you know?
Again,
because
here's
that's the type of thing where it's you really want to do it, but that takes preparation, right? It's like, and you're kind of hungry now, so it's kind of like maybe doing it like on a Friday, knowing that you're gonna profit on the weekend.
On the weekend.
Yeah.
So this is like a multi-step procedure.
I think so. We have to make the broth. The broth takes time to make, and you have to let it like sit.
Simmer.
Yeah, and all of that. Yeah.
But the noodles, you could technically make them ahead of time and just have them
You
ready.
could, or just for the sake of keeping it simple, just buy them. I think.
I mean, that sounds quite.
I think you can just do that. I think the main thing is probably the broth. Yeah. Oh man, I'm getting hungry just thinking about that. So, like, let's go back, like, to the office, right? Like, like, okay, for sure, you know, the restaurants and the different things you can eat around the office, but like, what about in the office? Like you mentioned, you know, you were bringing your lunch, but pretty sure some of your colleagues would bring food from home they would want to share, right?
Oh yeah, or they were mischievous, right? Because let's say it's Friday. I had a colleague that had an amazing cronut shop next to his house.
A what now?
Cronut.
What the hell's a cronut?
This is a type of donut. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's like a croissant and a donut, right?
I don't know if it's a croissant. I mean, it's like the special type of donut. It's kind of like, obviously it's fried, but it has these other levels of yumminess. It's thick, but this shop is like all artisanal cronuts. So like think about like your velvet cake, right? Or think about like if you're obsessed with green matcha, which I am. They had like a green matcha cronut.
How come I never talked about this before? So like, I mean, this
special.
This person would just like bring like a box of this.
He would bring literally a dozen.
And this guy got the promotions, I bet, right?
Well, he was in IT, if that says anything. So he wanted to kind of.
I don't know if you want to say that with these people here, but so this IT warrior, this guy that's essential to the business, would bring in these donuts, man. That's a good person right there. People would
start like ahead of time, like he may like send if you have like a Slack or maybe a chatter, like he'd post in the chat saying, I'm bringing in donuts, guys, like don't have breakfast.
Oh, what a pro.
And people would already start reserving what type of donut they wanted on the thread.
Oh, this guy was an angel. Yeah.
And people were like, oh, as soon as he's coming in smiling with a box of donuts.
Can you imagine if you just didn't bring it one day? I bet there would be wars.
Well, I mean, there was a time where people were like, okay, dude, you're contributing to our caloric intake.
As if that was his fault.
Right. So he's like, well, I could just not bring them anymore. And everyone's like, no, we're just kidding.
Yeah.
Like, keep them coming our way.
Yeah, no, definitely. That sounds delicious.
I'd say like a major like food group that was brought into the office was the sweets.
The sweets.
The sweet, man. How about you?
I think, it's the same thing. I mean, there's always that one person in the office who has like a little little black market of
Of
stuff, of goodness, right? And that can range from, I think, from everything, if you guys can imagine, right? From candies to maybe some liquor when things got really rough sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but that was a known thing, right? So it's like, cheers to like whoever was celebrating their birthday. It was like after hours, right? Of course, when things were done, right? So I mean, those are little things you kind of do miss from the office. Those little things.
Yeah, little moments of celebration, like birthdays, right? Like birthday celebrations in the office.
It's like it's not my birthday till September. So yeah, we just want to have cake. Okay, all right,
So
no problem.
go to the local supermarket.
Or just like bring some fried chicken and some subs or whatever the hell it was. Like those little things, just to cheer everyone up. Because there's always someone who's having a bad day, right?
Yeah.
And then what cheers someone who's having a bad? It's food. Yeah.
Totally. Food. I mean, if you had a rough day with your boss, if a project didn't go well, that was kind of like the one-on-one, like nod your head. That's what we're gonna escape from here.
Yeah.
We're gonna go into a food coma.
Yeah. No, definitely. These are things that they'll be coming back soon, I hope, because that dynamic, it's nice to have. I do miss that. I mean, that's the only thing I miss from the office is that.
Yeah,
that's it.
I'd say like I've really very much enjoyed working remotely.
Yeah.
But those are nice moments. I mean, do you have anything in particular that you're like, yeah, over food I'm bonding with my colleagues?
Well, the bonding thing happens, naturally, because now we're all being connected. So I think at the beginning of this whole situation, people were were a little bit more reluctant to like call you. They first like ping you, like text you, and then be like, hey, can I talk to you? And those are the people that really didn't want to work from home. They're like, I have to go to the office, blah, 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 blah. Now those are the guys that just call you like, hey, what's up, man? How's it going?
Yeah.
It's like, you have a little moment to chat. Hey, what's up? No, I just want to, shoot the shit, whatever. So there's definitely been a culture shift, right, from where we were originally, which was, let's just, go to the office and have a meeting in person, which we have easily on the phone, to now this. However, it's those little things of like, hey, let's go grab coffee, and like, I don't drink coffee. Like, I just want to talk to you. Those little things I do miss. Yeah. But again, that's pretty much it. I mean, if you were telling me, ooh, you can never have that again, I'm like, all right, well, I'll just make my own coffee at home. Then we'll just do a video conference. We'll just have it like that. Yeah.
I mean, one of the things, like, the worst, I'd say, like, I'm exaggerating here a bit, but, like, worst case scenario, if, like, you forgot or you weren't able to go out to eat. Like, did you have the cafeteria in your, at your office?
Yeah, it was the best cafeteria for the first couple of months where I worked.
Why?
Well, because,
the shiny, you're
like, oh, this is, like, really nice food, and then you're like, by the 5th month, you're like, it's just the same menu over and over again. Nothing changes, Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, near the end, right, where the chicken that was left over from the day before, they would just, like, wipe off the sauce and, like, put a new sauce on top of it. I'm pretty sure that was what they would do, but, I mean, they did. That was, like, definitely it was like your plan B, and then it became your plan C, right? Because then you're like, I'd rather just not eat, or just go find something, or do an Uber Eats, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Right, which is another thing that
It is another thing.
Yeah.
I used to do Uber Eats as well because the cafeteria, or if you want to call it a cafeteria, where I worked was like a mom and pop shop.
Oh boy.
I mean, interesting flavors. I'd say like a combination of Latin American cuisine. And sometimes they had some interesting soups, but overpriced. Holy smokes, like totally overpriced.
So that's what I pay for that overhead, right?
Yeah, well, that's when I'd look at my phone, pick in the Uber app, and I'd order like my favorite Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Like falafel and
some
yumminess.
Yeah, that's what we would do too. I mean, at least in my case, the cafeteria at my office was actually really reasonably priced, like super reasonably priced. You get a good portion for what you're paying. But there was a nice cafeteria in this other office nearby that we would go to. It was like top tier. Like, I mean, I could say, like, it was like a cafe at that point.
Like your colleagues do other.
Other company. Other company
Hilarious.
cafeterias we would go to. They would let us in, and we would go there, and there was like a hub for all the other companies that we go. So we would go there, and it was like the best croissant I ever had, like in terms of corporate setting.
Yeah.
Was there. Really good, decent food. I mean, the menu was varied and a little bit pricey, but You're paying what you
yeah.
got. Yeah, you pay what you're paying for. You would eat what you're paying for, right?
Yeah, so that was kind of like a not working hub.
Yeah, definitely. Because you would see so many people. You're like, oh my god, what's up, man? I haven't seen you since you got laid off. Like, yeah, I'm working on their place now. Like, oh, cool. And you're here. Like, yeah. So, like, stuff like that, those are the things I do miss. Again. But if you tell me, hey, never again, like, all right.
Yeah.
I'll be okay.
You know, that's interesting because it reminded me that at the cafeteria at my prior company, like if you did stop by, there's a good chance that you quote unquote rub elbows with like an executive or someone that was someone. And I guess you can see other people kind of like, oh hey,
take advantage of
like
that.
Joe, and great town hall the other day.
Oh my god,
the BS
that
kind
is
of
sneaky.
schnoozing.
Yeah, no, for me,
schmoozing.
I think people in my office were so like fed up with everything that they were just like, whatever. Like, I just want to go eat, you know.
they focus on the fried chicken.
They're just like, I just want to go eat. I don't want to talk to anybody. And some people, of course, would love the schmoozing thing, but you can tell like, some people they just want to go eat. They don't want no one to sit next to them. They just want to go eat and just like process like what the F just happened on that call, right? Mm-hmm. Which is, I think, some people know how to read body language and some people don't.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I don't like. It's like, okay, I get it. Common courtesy is that you really shouldn't eat at your desk because the smell, you might bother it. So you should probably just go down and eat in the cafeteria, right? But it's so hard sometimes to just be like, hey, is this seat taken? It's like, have a seat, right? And the guy just starts laying on you like his whole dilemma. You're like, yeah.
You mean it's a little bit like high school?
Yeah, but except in high school though, you're dealing with like real problems, right? You're like, oh geez, like what am I supposed to do now with this freaking file isn't working? It's corrupt. I haven't told my boss yet. It's like, and now someone comes like, oh, have you had the meatballs? They're pretty good today. It's like, Joe, it's the same meatballs we've had for the past like 8 years, man. What are you talking about? But then again, I think not being so closed up in your own little hole helps.
Bubble.
Yeah, because you guy, he comes in and has good intentions. He's sort of, all right, you're right. Life's not that terrible.
I have to say, the one time that I was dragged away from the sitting at my desk was when we started getting interns. So of course you want the interns to have like a meaningful, inclusive experience, right?
Yeah.
While they're working with you. So I recall two of them said, hey, why don't you join us for lunch, right? And it became a thing. While they were doing their internship, I joined them for lunch. And I started seeing people I never saw, like, while I was there, right? Like, people maybe were on a different floor, but they come down to our break room.
Yeah.
And you start meeting people, but I could totally see those scenarios play out. But some people were actually taking phone calls while they were eating at the break room.
A lot of people do that.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, a lot of people do take phone calls and like talking to like their insurance policy. You're like, I don't understand why, blah blah. Yeah, it's funny, that whole dynamic, and now you're like one day to the other, it's done. It's gone.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit of a culture shock going back. You're like, whoa, I forgot how annoying this was.
Yeah, and also like just I think it's interesting observing human behavior.
Yeah.
I mean, the little details, like people dressing up because they needed to go out to eat.
Yeah.
Because it was Friday or Friday.
You're right.
Casual day.
You're 100% right. The whole vibe to it's so different. Like from Monday to Tuesday, you need to go through the whole
week.
Like, and if you know somebody had a big presentation, you're like, hey, how'd it go? And like, I killed it. You're like, all right. Yeah, let's go grab something to eat. It's like, sure, but not with you. Man, go the other two. Oh, okay. All right.
Oh,
yeah, burn. Yeah, all right. No, definitely. It's funny, but if we do go back to like normal,
what does normal look like though? I
think
we can't really call it normal.
No, I'm saying like normal, like pre all this, right? That's gonna take a couple of years, I think. I think because of like how everything needs to be like restructured in terms of like the office design and all of that.
Yeah.
At least some offices are doing that. Some companies are like looking into that, how they would design an office that's, the health mandates, blah 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 blah. I haven't really looked into it myself, what that would look like, but I can just imagine the complexity of it. That so many companies are saying, you know what, we're not gonna let anyone go into the office until next year.
Just think about the elevator alone.
Yeah, one person per elevator, but then what, like, how does that work? Like, do you wipe it down after each, I don't know. What a crazy, like...
Time?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, what we thought was normal, like, is now a whole process that completely turns us off, like, going to the office. It was bad enough before, but now it's like, what is this? This is like some sort of, like, horror movie, you know?
Yeah.
Contamination, or what's that one with, what's this guy's name? Dustin Hoffman, where he's, like, with the monkey. You know what I'm talking about? Dustin Hoffman, there's a monkey has a virus.
Oh, I think
And the monkey
recall.
breaks free.
Yeah.
And he has to...
But you know I'm terrible with names.
Yeah, well, it's
movies.
like that whole contamination thing. It's like, you gotta go in like a bubble suit and all
Which
of this.
back then it seemed exaggerated, but literally.
Yeah, now it's like, well, I don't think there's anything there. And you get it, and you're like, oh, I guess it really does exist. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, dude, to be honest with you, I do miss the food.
Yeah, me too.
I really miss the food.
I mean, there's some, like I said, there's some cuisines that are just like spectacular. So if you had to describe to me, like, in celebration of going back to the office, what's that place that you know is going to be on it?
For sure, as a celebration, just for the nostalgia of it, it would be going to the other cafe next to the office.
Oh,
the
seriously?
cafeteria, yeah, because of the memes. It would just be so funny to go back there. It's like, hey, you guys are still here? Like, hey, you guys. And the funny thing is, the owner of that restaurant, of that cafe, he looked like Julian Assange. So we would cut like a joke with him, and he's like, hey, we thought you were in London. And he's like, oh, well, I just got out. They don't know I'm here. Oh, that guy was funny as hell. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like those little interactions.
The human moments.
Yeah.
The human moments that kind of are embedded in the small things.
And then when you see these people again, it's like, you know what I mean? It's gonna bring back a little bit of, I wouldn't say tear-jerking moments, but you're like, I missed this guy. I didn't know that this guy took up so much memory in my freaking RAM.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's
my
excellent
hard
way to
drive.
put it.
It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Everybody, the cashier at my cafeteria, like all these little things that you just go with it, the flow of the day.
Or how about the waiters and waitresses that remembered, like, what you want, like, how you like your tea or your drink, like,
usual
hey,
guys.
you having the usual?
You're like, yeah.
And then a little bit of a joke, right?
Yeah. It's those things. You know, I think it's gonna take some time for. Some people are ready to go back. They're like, whatever, I'll go back to whatever the status is, right? And they'll do that. But I think for other people, it's gonna take some time to feel comfortable to go back and kind of live life as it used to be.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it'll be as it used to be. I think we're going to be adopting, like, how we have, right? New tendencies, whether it's cleanliness or how we interact with one another.
I mean, cleanliness doesn't, I mean, that should be like the standard, right?
You would think so,
yeah,
but
like wiping down the table, not with that little rag that's been used all over the restaurant, you know? I mean, I'm really wiping it down like a paper towel. So, I mean, then again, maybe the fact that those tables were so freaking disgusting
was a charm.
Was the reason why we never got sick in the first place.
Could be.
Maybe this whole thing, I don't know.
That was like the
exposure you need.
Herd immunity effect.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Who knows? I mean, I haven't ventured out to a restaurant in 7 months, I think.
Yeah, ditto on my end. I haven't either.
7 or 6.
But I know of people who have, and it's a strange experience, mostly because, well, they haven't been eating inside.
Right.
They've either been doing the pickup, which has worked well. Some, like, Michelin star restaurants, trying to promote local consumption. They started doing special, like, discounts. So what you'd imagine being a highly priced combo of a meal, they were offering, like, discounted rates online
well, it
for
makes
pickup.
sense.
You know, but people were now getting the ability to taste with those meals.
I mean, there's like a blessing. Like, I think like for me, we shouldn't really talk about it in this podcast or in this episode, but like the evolution of what it's gonna look like, the restaurant business.
Oh,
right?
yeah, that would be a very interesting
I think that'd be
topic.
interesting. I think I'd like to do some research and come back here and kind of discuss it with you, because
Agreed.
I think to think that, I think now maybe you're gonna see even more restaurants pop up.
Yeah, but it's gonna be a different model of a restaurant.
Completely.
Right?
I think it's going to be much more of like a takeout delivery sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to discussing that because it's such a big part of what we do as humans, right? Is eat, go out and socialize, eat and drink.
Yeah, and now it's just, you know, listen, before we say anything else, I just want to see what happens the last quarter of the year.
Agreed.
Right, with winter and fall, and kind of see what's going to happen. People, especially in some of the states where some people aren't really just like, whatever, man, I'm just gonna do what I want. I want to see what happens, because if nothing really blows up, then maybe we gotta get our ass back in there, right?
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah. So, folks, signing this one off, think about those restaurants and the people that made your experience at work a little bit more meaningful during the week, during the month. Who are those, or where are those locations, and have you given them a shout out recently? If you haven't, at least you're keeping them alive in your memories, and I'm sure that at some point when you're able to get back into the physical work grind, that they'll be seeing your smiling faces back at their tables.
Yeah, and give a nice little tip, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Give a nice little tip, because those guys are heroes as well, right?
Absolutely.
Shout out to all the heroes who are making this whole thing bearable, right? Alright guys, so we'll check in with you after hours, and don't forget, it's just a burnout.
Burnout. Oh.
We'll work on the outro. We'll get there someday.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.